November 11th, 1918. The trenches of the Western Front stretch for hundreds of miles. Millions of men are locked in brutal trench warfare, fighting over muddy fields with machine guns, artillery, and poison gas. But let's rewind to 1916, right in the middle of the bloodiest war humanity had ever seen. And let's change one thing. Sitting in a field near Verdun, covered in canvas, is something that shouldn't exist for another 60 years. The Fairchild Republic, A-10 Thunderbolt II, better known as the Warthog, a jet built specifically to destroy tanks and fortified positions, dropped into a war where the tank was just invented. So what happens when the most feared ground attack aircraft ever built is unleashed on the trenches of World War I? Can it break the stalemate, or is it just one plane against the largest armies ever assembled? So, what exactly are we dropping into 1916? The A-10 Warthog isn't pretty. It looks like it was designed by someone who hates aesthetics and loves violence. But it's built around one thing, a gun so powerful the plane was literally designed around it. The GAU-8 Avenger, a 7-barrel rotary cannon that fires 30mm depleted uranium rounds at 3,900 rounds per minute. That's 65 rounds every second. Each bullet weighs almost a pound and can punch through 69mm of steel armor. In World War I, the British Mark I tank had only 6 to 12mm of armor. This gun would turn a German A-7V tank into scrap metal in under 2 seconds. But the gun is just the beginning. This Warthog is carrying a full combat load. A GM-65 Maverick missiles, laser-guided weapons that can destroy bunkers from miles away, Mk-82 bombs, 500-pounders that can level entire trench sections. Hydra 70 rocket pods with 19 unguided rockets each, perfect for shredding infantry positions. The A-10 can fly low and slow, cruising at around 345 miles per hour, and it can loiter over a battlefield for hours. It's built to survive ground fire with titanium armor around the cockpit and redundant systems that keep it flying even after taking damage. Here's the economic reality. One A-10 costs roughly $46 million in today's money. Adjusted backwards, that's about $1 million in 1916 dollars. For context, the entire British defense budget in 1916 was roughly $11 billion at the period's exchange rate. This single aircraft represents more firepower than some nations could produce in a year. The ammunition it carries, those Maverick missiles alone, would cost about $180,000 each in 1916 equivalent dollars. Now let's look at what it's up against. In 1916, the Western Front is a 400-mile scar across Europe. The German Empire has approximately 2.85 million men deployed on the Western Front in trenches protected by barbed wire, machine gun nests, and thousands of artillery pieces. The weapons they're using are brutal but primitive. Maxim machine guns that fire 600 rounds per minute but need water cooling, artillery that requires entire crews and takes minutes to reload. The brand new British Mark I tank crawls at 3.7 miles per hour and breaks down constantly. Aircraft exist in 1916, but they're nothing like the Warthog. The fastest fighter tops out at 119 miles per hour. Bombers carry maybe 1,100 pounds of explosives and fly at 87 miles per hour. Anti-aircraft weapons are mostly modified field guns that struggle to hit anything. The German 8.8 centimeter flak fires 15 rounds per minute and has an effective ceiling of about 26,000 feet. The A-10 operates comfortably at 30,000 feet, well above anything they've got. It's September 1916. The Battle of the Somme has been grinding on for months. Over 300,000 men are already dead, and the front line has barely moved. The Warthog takes off from a field behind British lines. Within minutes, it's over German positions at 5,000 feet, low enough to see everything but high enough that rifle fire is useless. The pilot activates the targeting pod, and infrared cameras pick up heat signatures from German trenches, machine gun positions, command bunkers, and artillery emplacements. The first pass is with Maverick missiles. The pilot locks onto a German artillery position, 6 heavy guns that have been shelling British trenches for days. The missile launches, streaks across the sky, and the entire position vanishes in a fireball. The explosion is so massive that soldiers on both sides stop and stare. In under 3 minutes, the A-10 destroys more German artillery than a week of conventional bombardment would have knocked out. Then comes the gun. The GAU-8 Avenger opens up with its distinctive sound, echoing across the battlefield. The 30mm rounds chew through German trenches like a buzzsaw. Sandbags explode. Concrete bunkers crack open. Machine gun nests simply cease to exist. German soldiers who survive are in complete shock. Some think it's a new type of artillery. Others think the British have summoned something supernatural. The economic impact of this single sortie is staggering. In one pass, the A-10 destroys German artillery worth approximately $2.5 million in 1916 dollars. The British had been spending roughly $50,000 per day on artillery shells trying to knock out those same positions. The Warthog did it in 3 minutes, still expensive at $180,000 per missile, but it's immediate and surgical. But here's where reality kicks in. The A-10 burns through its 11,000 pounds of fuel in about 90 minutes of combat flying. And when it lands, there's a massive problem. The Warthog runs on JP-8 jet fuel, a kerosene-based blend that doesn't exist in 1916. The closest thing available is aviation gasoline, and it's completely incompatible. Even if someone tried to refuel it, the fuel would destroy the turbofan engines within minutes. Then there's ammunition. The GAU-8 carries 1,174 rounds. At maximum rate, that's about 18 seconds of trigger time. The Maverick missiles are one-use weapons. After that first mission, the A-10 is effectively done. There are no replacement missiles, no 30mm ammunition, no spare parts. If anything breaks, there's no one alive who can fix it. Let's talk about what one sortie could realistically accomplish. The A-10 could destroy approximately 15 to 20 hardened targets with its missiles and bombs, artillery positions, command bunkers, supply depots, things that take weeks of conventional bombardment to knock out. With the gun, it could strafe maybe 8 to 10 trench sections, each about 90 meters long. In economic terms, that's roughly $5 to $6 million worth of German military infrastructure destroyed in under 2 hours. For comparison, this single aircraft could accomplish what might cost $30 to $40 million in conventional operations. But the Western Front is 400 miles long. The German army has over 15,000 artillery pieces, thousands of machine gun positions, and nearly 3 million men on the Western Front alone. One A-10, even perfectly executed, is hitting maybe 0.1% of German capability. It's devastating to the units it targets, but it's a pinprick on the strategic scale. The psychological impact, though, would be enormous. German commanders would have no explanation for what just happened. Their artillery, positioned miles behind the lines, just evaporated. Soldiers who witnessed it would spread stories that grow with each retelling. On the British side, morale would skyrocket, but the advantage would last maybe 24 to 48 hours before German forces reinforced and the stalemate resumed. Could the A-10 change World War I? Not really. Could it change one battle? Absolutely. If that sortie happened during a critical moment, it could save thousands of lives by destroying key German positions. The British advance might gain an extra mile before hitting fresh defenses. That's significant on a human level, thousands of soldiers who go home instead of dying in no man's land. But it doesn't end the war.